I am honestly now just waiting for the day that SNL finally gets canceled. I honestly don't even know anyone under 40 years old that still watches that show. But I bring up SNL because we're doing a dive into the recently disappointing skit that SNL did about Aimee Lou Wood.
You all right? What's that?
Instead of critiquing the joke and SNL as a whole, I want to do something deeper. I want to talk about natural beauty, self-worth, and building an identity in a society that profits from you questioning your own worth. Aimee's response to the skit? It was vulnerable, it was raw, it was powerful, and it gives us this really great roadmap for understanding not only how do we respond to public critique and shaming, but how do we authentically step into true self-confidence and self-worth. But before we unpack it, I should introduce myself. Hi, my name's Erin. I'm a licensed therapist, and I love analyzing all things pop culture. As I already mentioned, we're doing a deep dive into Aimee Lou Wood's response to the recent SNL skit regarding her. So let's dive in, let's unpack it. So first, a quick recap. There was an SNL skit that was based on Aimee Lou Wood's character in The White Lotus. And it wasn't clever, honestly. It was quite disappointing, and it was really that old school humor of like exaggeration and awkwardness and exaggerated teeth, and it was really that beat down comedy that I think should stay in the early 2000s. Now, Aimee is no stranger to conversations about her appearance. She has voiced that she has had a long journey with her self-image and that she has opted out from any cosmetic surgeries. She is trying to embrace all of her natural features, something that Hollywood often tries to erase. In her response to the skit, she said that it did bring up some old insecurities, but also highlighted how far she has come in her healing journey. Her words were raw and honest and real, and it hit home for a lot of people. And it really drove home this idea that when somebody dares to be unapologetically themselves, it really pushes back against the system that tells us to shrink, conform, and fix ourselves to fit in. From a psychological perspective, jokes aren't always just jokes. They often hit on insecurities that we've had since childhood. And this often creates what's called the social comparison theory. This theory states that we often are going to hold ourselves up against or compare ourselves to others in areas that we feel really unsure about or areas that we feel like we don't measure up to. When the media mocks somebody's appearance, it really reinforces the idea that there is a quote-unquote right way to look. And if you don't fit into that box, well, then you become a target. This then activates what's called appearance contingent self-worth. This basically says that how I feel about myself is completely based upon how I look, and that is a completely exhausting and incredibly fragile place to live. Now imagine trying to build your self-confidence in that type of climate. Imagine deciding to intentionally embrace your own natural beauty and being told on national television that you are not enough. That's not just damaging to Aimee, that's damaging to the thousands or millions of people that also saw themselves in her. Let's talk about Aimee's natural beauty because that's where she really shines. In an industry that is dominated by fillers and filters and Photoshop, she shows up completely as herself. No tweaks, no veneers, just her. And that's an incredibly raw and powerful and vulnerable decision to make. And in doing so, she is pushing back against an industry showing up with a resistance, saying, I'm not here to be palatable, I'm here to be real. And there's deep psychology behind that choice. It's called self-concept clarity, which is having an ability to have an acceptance about who you truly are, faults and all. And people who have a high self-concept clarity tend to be more resilient. They bounce back from criticism more easily. And they also don't fall apart when people say things that they might not necessarily agree with or feel judgmental. And you can see this in the way that Aimee Lou responds to the SNL skit. She doesn't deny that it hurt, but she also doesn't crumble. She shows true confidence in the face of this, in the sense that she knows that that is something that she often has felt insecure about, but it's still part of her that she's going to embrace fully. So what are we doing? Why are we still here mocking people for looking like actual people? Well, it really comes down to one word: conditioning. From a young age, we are conditioned and told that there are certain features that are desirable versus undesirable. Light skin, clear skin, having straight white teeth, a specific body shape and size. If you do not fit into that, well, then you're told that you are weird or flawed. And it's not biology, it's repetition. The more something becomes idealized, the more our brains convert that into being the standard. It then creates a lens in which we view and judge ourselves and the world. And in turn, the media plays such a huge part in reinforcing this negative, judgmental lens. Aimee Lou simply pushes back against this system by just existing and having imperfect teeth. And when a system is challenged, it's going to push back. And that's why this SNL skit sucked so much. It was mean, yes, but it also highlighted and exposed the fragile progress we have actually really not made regarding beauty and self-confidence and self-worth. Here's what I love about Aimee's story. She doesn't pretend to be confident all the time. She said that there are still some days where she looks in the mirror and she flinches. And that's so real. True confidence is not avoiding and never having any flaws. It is being able to embrace those and know them and move through them without letting them dictate and control your entire life. Psychologist Kristen Neff talks about self-compassion, or being kind to yourself in the midst of failure or insecurity. And this is a core building block for building true self-confidence. It's having that self-compassion, knowing that you're imperfect, but still being kind to yourself despite that. Any self-confidence built on perfectionism will crumble immediately. But self-confidence built on self-compassion and self-acceptance, that is immeasurable. So how do we build self-confidence then? Here's 3 pieces of advice that I would give. 1, unfollow the unreal. Social media is impacting you. Not even a probably, it is. The comparison game that goes on every time we get on any single social media is just biological. So I know that it's happening to you. And there is an ability to curate your page so that you are following things that are only going to make you feel good. Maybe you just need to follow chefs, or maybe you only want to follow cooking videos. Or maybe you should just get off social media entirely. Our brains were not created to absorb the sheer amount of information that social media gives us. I should not know about your skincare and morning beauty routine, nor do I care. Get off social media if you want to help improve how you feel about yourself. 2, celebrate non-visual beauty. This means picking things about yourself that you love and embracing them. For me, one of the things that I love is that I'm a very thoughtful and empathic friend. I love that about myself, and because I know that, it gives me so much confidence to get to carry that out in the world. And by being able to build up those things in yourself that are not going to be fleeting, like maybe you're a really loyal friend, or maybe you're really good at math. I suck at math. But if you can build up those things, those are going to carry you so much further than if you have acne on any given day. And this even goes to being intentional about caring what your body does for you, not just how it looks. So being able to embrace, thank you so much, legs, from taking me from one room to the other. Or thanking your brain for being able to think about breathing and having your heart rate go so that you don't have to monitor those things. Your body does so much for you outside of just how it physically looks day to day. 3, this is my biggest piece of advice and the thing that has helped me the most in finding my confidence. But when I started counseling people, I quickly realized everybody's insecure. I know people say that. And it's an easy thing to say, but I can truly tell you from my perspective, every single client I talked to had insecurities, and they weren't just coming to therapy because they were insecure. They were working on other things. So it really drove in this idea like, okay, every single one of us has stuff that we want to and need to work on. And if we're able to accept that and be kind to ourselves in the midst of that, we're going to go so far, and we're going to become a very holistic version of ourselves that is really fun to be around, that contributes to the world and offers meaningful things in your lifetime. If you notice my camera moved, that's okay, because that's real and authentic, and I'm imperfect as a filmographer, videographer, whatever. So yes, that SNL skit, it was a low blow, but Aimee Lou Wood's response, that was such a high note and such a good reminder that true confidence isn't found in fitting in, but it's found in being an authentic and real version of yourself. Thank you so much for deciding to click on my video and watch it. I am so appreciative of all your support, whether that be a like, a comment, a subscribe, whatever it is. I'm super, super grateful. Maybe leave a comment of something that you feel really proud of this week. Could be something small or big, doesn't matter. Leave a comment. Thank you so much for joining along, and I can't wait to keep growing my channel. I will see you all soon.